There we go. Yeah, that's great. Beauty. Always the toughest part of these things is just getting started. So the quick introductions here. As you can see, we've got Zach from Autodesk here. He's an application engineer with Autodesk, and me, I'm Andrew Cole with SolidCAD. As I mentioned, it's a three-part series. So this is the first installment. The next 2 Mondays, we'll have some additional sessions. One that's going to focus in on the Builders Network, which is BuildingConnected, and the other one on PlanGrid, which is all about capturing information in the field, sharing information to the field. So those will be a couple more that you may want to sign up for if you haven't already. And we'll forward on to the next one. So just a little quick piece here on SolidCAD. Because we do a little bit more than just offer Autodesk products. So we are an Autodesk Platinum partner. We're the largest Autodesk partner in Canada by far. We operate across the country, coast to coast, and we operate in both official languages of Canada. So we have the depth of resource to support people in trying to do the things that you can see down here on this slide, which is ultimately we're looking to help people optimize their investment in technology. So as customers go out there and they find the right products and they start implementing them, we're going to be there to support those efforts to make sure that return provides some real true value at the end of the day. Flip forward to the next one. This is really, you can come back and look at the recording. I'm not going to go into everything here that's on this slide, but if you look, there's just a lot of different ways in which our customers engage with us and we engage with our customers. And some of these are a little bit non-construction or non-AEC related, because we do also operate in manufacturing and civil engineering as well. So on to the next one. And these are a list of some of the products. You can see the top left is Autodesk, which is the bulk of our business. But we have a lot of complementary pieces as well. So there's some other things that kind of come into play that also support that Autodesk usage, some more than others. But certainly there's just a lot of different things that SolidCAD does. If you're not totally familiar, please pop by the website and you can learn a little bit more about any of these tools or services that we provide. But for today, we'll move on now and get into the agenda for today. So as I mentioned, this is the first in the three-part series, and the focus here is on assemble systems. And that's what Zach is going to go through today. This is the items. And at a high level, we're gonna talk of those 3 bullet points at the bottom. We're going to talk about being able to do 3D quantity takeoffs, model change management, and progress tracking. So this is the opportunity to learn a little bit more. Everyone is in a mute mode. So if you do have any pressing questions or comments, we'll do our best to get to them. If we run out of time, we'll respond via an email, but the recording is going to be available after the fact as well, so we'll be able to come back and watch this. So if you want to use your chat to ask questions, please do that, and at the end of the session, if we have enough time, we'll take on as many as we can. So with that, Zach, I'll hand it over to you, and I'll stop sharing my webcam, and we can focus in on what you've got.
Awesome, sounds good. So I just want to confirm you guys can see my screen?
We can, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, what we can do today, basically just a high level view of Assemble. So if you guys may or may not know, Assemble is completely cloud-based. What we can basically do is take that 3D model, push it into Assemble, and do a couple of interesting workflows with it, which are 3D quantity takeoff, change management, as well as progress tracking in the field. So what we're looking at right now is basically a specific project of Assemble. So right now it's just at the ZDC Francis Hall. Here on the left, we're going to see a list of our models. Right now, all these models are Revit, but we support a variety of different ones: Revit, AutoCAD, Navisworks, and IFC file formats. So pretty much all the standardized ones you guys would be seeing within the industry. Here on the right, these are basically our views. These views, you can basically think of them as templates. So the great thing about these is they basically allow you to condition the information, and say somebody is not very tech savvy or BIM savvy rather, they can easily jump in the view and look at the pertaining information they care about specifically. So if I just jump into, say, this architectural model here, let me just open up a new tab. We're going to see all the pertaining information we care about directly within this model. So if we just give this one moment to load, we're going to see a couple of different views here. Here on the left, we're going to see our inventory, and then on the right, we're going to see our 3D view. But before I touch more on these, if we start here on the left, this is our model tree. Within the model tree, this is basically where all the different models reside. As we see here, the architectural is toggled on, And we can also see it's a version 2, and we'll touch base on that in just a little bit. But we also have all these different models. I can easily toggle them on and off, and all that pertaining information gets relayed within our inventory here, as well as our 3D view. So like I mentioned, we support all those different file formats, AutoCAD, Revit, Navisworks. So pretty much all of those you can view within Assemble. Within here, this is just our inventory. So by default, we're basically taking the default information from, say, this Revit model and pushing it to this inventory. We have it grouped by category right now, but we can also group by any other property we'd like. Before I change it, we can see, okay, doors, the total amount of doors here, and then have a breakdown of every single family used within this model. So it's a great way to get a high-level overview of all the information within a specific model you guys are looking at. Say I'm an estimator and I don't want to look at it as a category. I can easily just change the grouping to whatever I see fit. Say I want to look at it as level. If I just scroll down here, select level instead. What Assemble basically does is it goes through, references the level property in every single geometry here, and gives us the output. So say the first floor here, I can expand this out, expand doors, and then we can see every single door shown on the first floor. And that obviously applies to any other category you want to focus on. So that's one way to actually configure the information here. What we can also do is change it by the columns here at the top. So if I expand this out, let's see doors again, expand this out and hover over, we can see all these different columns. These columns are basically just properties. So I can easily add or remove them directly here. Within this new dialog box, say I want to remove perimeter, length, and depth, I can easily do so, as well as add in any other columns as well. We're going to see two different types of properties, assembled properties as well as model properties. I'll touch base on what the difference is in just a little bit. Click done. I expand this out again. Hover over, we can see all those columns that I removed. With all of this actually configured, I can easily export this to Excel, and the same way the information is viewed within Assemble will be reflected within Excel. So for you guys, you may be more familiar with using Excel, we allow that ability as well. Within here on the right, this is just our 3D view. The same thing you'd be seeing within Revit, AutoCAD, any of those modeling softwares, we allow within Assemble. I can easily select a wall, get selected within our inventory, so we can see, okay, it's an exterior existing 1 foot 1 inch wall, as well as any of those other pertaining columns we pulled in, and all that other information that we care about. What I've also done is I pulled in the 2D sheets. So this is coming directly from Revit. The workflows you guys may be accustomed to are with doing, say, 2D quantity takeoffs. What Assemble allows you to do is reference the 2D sheets. What I mean by that is, say I select this wall and hop down here. Right now we're just looking at all the different sheets, but if I do select it here, I can basically narrow down to the specific sheets this wall resides on. So say I select first floor plan. If we just give this one moment, we'll actually see this wall highlighted in blue. What's great about these 2D sheets is they're actually interactive. I can select any other geometry here. It'll get selected within our 3D view as well as our inventory. So if I just zoom in here, we can see that wall. Let me just select this one instead, or this one. Oh. We can see it selected right there, as well as the inventory. So everything stays connected throughout, and it's easy to reference the 2D with respect to the 3D model. Let me just select this wall again and hop over the properties. So like I mentioned earlier, we have two different types of properties, assembled properties as well as model properties. So the big difference is, say you're getting a model from a designer or architect and they don't have every property you care about. What you can do is add those fields in after the fact as assembled properties. And it's basically a way to further condition the model than you're getting by default. So as we see here, I created, say, a bid package, I created unit cost, project management, etc. You can add in as many fields as you'd like and have it reflected throughout your model within Assemble. If I scroll down here, we're going to see our model properties. So this is what by default is popular in our inventory here. So things we see are like area, height, length, maybe volume, the family, the type, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much a high level view of Assemble. What I'm gonna do right now is go through the three main workflows. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just shoot them in the chat. I'll try to reply, or Andrew will as well, and we can take it from there. So with regard to the first workflow, 3D quantity takeoff, obviously you guys are accustomed to the 2D way. So I'll try to connect it as best as I can to how you guys are doing it right now. So say I'm an estimator and I want to do a wall takeoff, something pretty straightforward. The first thing I want to do here is get rid of every other category and just stick with walls. What I first want to do is apply a rule, and this rule is basically used to control visibility. So within here, easily add the rule to the architectural model, show only category name. I can control this by any other parameter as well, but category name works for us in this instance, and type in walls. Click update. Assemble will go through and condition the model for us. Say I want to get a little more granular and just focus on exterior, I can easily add that in as another parameter to condition by. And say I want to do exterior, that's what the architect would have put in to control this. Go through, and Assemble just went through, and now we're just focused on the exterior. So as long as the information is within the model, Assemble can do the rest and condition it for you. So this is great. We're just focusing on the walls right now, but grouping by category doesn't make much sense anymore because walls is obviously the only one. We want to figure out another property to group this by. If I'm an estimator, I'm basically trying to figure out what that will be, or I already know, but I'll just select the wall, hop down here, go through these assemble properties, or model properties rather, and see what we have available to us. So if I just go through, I can see, okay, the type one looks like a great one. I know which type of wall it is as well as the diameter of it. So let me do that one instead, or the thickness rather. Hop back here, group by, and then let me actually find type. So within here, obviously we can see every single type of wall used within this model. If I expand this out, we can see every single instance by level, as well as a specific family. So even this hierarchy that we're looking at type, function, or level rather, and then the family. We can change this however we see fit. Go back to the grouping, edit type here. And what we're basically doing is just changing the grouping hierarchy here. So type name, level, and say I want to do it by function as well. I can easily add that in, click save, and Assemble will do the rest. So however you want to condition the information, Assemble allows you to do so. And there we go. We can see the hierarchy provided for us. So that's great. We changed the grouping however we wanted. We changed the hierarchy. This is great and all. But say with the columns, we want to add in a couple more. Say I want to hop back here over to the columns. We see thickness has no information for us. So let me just remove that first. And then say, let's add in a couple we think are good. So bit package. Let's say structure material. That'd be a good one. Let's say level. And yeah, we can leave that at that for now. Obviously, you can add as many as you'd like and have it reflected within our inventory here. I'll click save, Assemble will go through again. Let me expand this out, hover over, and now we can see all those columns added directly here. So this is great and all. We changed the grouping. We like how it looks. We added in the columns. We have all the pertaining information I care about. But say I want to see, okay, where are all these exterior existing 1 foot 10-inch walls within this 3D model? I don't want to have to select it just to have them highlighted here. What I can easily do is apply colorization. Simply click the paintbrush here on the right, toggle this on, and then I will do the grouping by type as well to match up with the grouping here. So now very quickly we can see, okay, all this purple or bright pink is all these walls over here, as well as any of those other pertaining walls we care about. The dark blue is all interior here. So it makes it very easy for your estimating team to see the information that they're looking at with respect to the model, as well as being shown here within our inventory. So this is great. We went through, we conditioned all the information however we wanted. We can export this to Excel now. Export here. We just give it one quick moment. And now we have it provided for us directly here. So once Excel opens, we can see all the information provided here. We can see all the colorization reflected, as well as, let's see here. There we go. As well as the hierarchy and the columns. So one point to mention is if you have assembled properties, you can actually make changes within Excel, save it, import it back into Assemble, and it'll update accordingly. So we do provide that bidirectional with Excel as well. Also, if you have a standardized template within Excel, we do have integration with it as well. So you can select a cell here, map it to a specific property within Assemble, push it into your standardized template, and have it all unified there. So we do provide a couple of different workflows you could use. Awesome. So we went through that whole process, conditioning the visibility settings, conditioning the grouping, adding columns, colorization, etc. We don't want to have to do this every single time we get a new project. What we can simply do is save this out as a view. So I can easily just call this wall takeoff 6.8, click done. And Assemble will basically just save the way the information was conditioned as we went through this process right now. If I hop back here, just refresh this, we'll see that view created for us. So the reason why that's so valuable is you don't want to have to do this every single time, or you don't have somebody that's tech savvy enough that they want to go through and condition it. You literally just need one person to do it, and then after that, it's provided here automatically. Another good point is with this view created, say I have another project that I'm starting from scratch, but you basically standardize how a wall takeoff or any takeoff is done. I can easily just import that view over to that new project. And within that new project, that information will still be conditioned the same way it was done in this one. So even that can be standardized. So if I just hop back into this view, we can see how all that conditioning is still shown for us here. Awesome. We can see all those columns, the colorization here, as well as here in the 3D model on the right. So that's pretty much our 3D quantity takeoff workflow. The next one I want to go over is change management. So I don't know about you guys, but this is something I hear a lot of how change management is handled right now. 2D sheet overlays, just putting them on top of each other, and it's a very manual process. You're basically just highlighting what's changed, but sometimes there's obviously human error. It takes a lot of time. We don't really want to do that. What you can easily do within Assemble is if I hop back here to the model tray, we're going to see this V1 and V2. Basically, I have two model iterations of this architectural pushed into Assemble. With that done, I can simply toggle on Show Changes here. And what Assemble is basically going to do, it's going to go through and compare the models to each other and give us an output. So green added, red remove, yellow type change, etc. We can see, okay, this red, this specific wall type on the third floor, it's an interior wall. All of these were removed, and we can see the total square footage of what was removed, as well as what was added. We can see it all reflected here. So honestly, just this workflow alone is a huge time saver for the organizations we show this to. Right now, we're just focusing on quantity. But say you had any other property populated within Assemble, say like unit cost, I can easily add that in. And what Assemble is basically going to do is compare those two to each other as well. So you're not just limited to quantity, you can do it by any other property as well. And we also have that reflected here on the right within our 3D view. Say you want to see with respect to the whole building, what was added, what was removed. I can easily toggle on ghost mode here, and there we go. We can see, okay, These three were added on the top floor, if I just move this around. And then those, they were moved on the top floor, and then these two are added on the first floor. So it makes it very easy to see where everything connects to each other as well. Awesome. So the last workflow I want to go through was progress tracking. So the way we hear about it being done right now is just pen and paper, honestly. We have, say, a field engineer walking around the field, and they're manually tracking what was installed, what isn't. The main issue we see with that is human error again. Things are missed. And the idea of sharing information from the field to the office sometimes gets missed. What Assemble allows you to do is, say we created a view for tracking progress in the field. I can easily view that in the field, make changes there, and it gets uploaded into the office version of Assemble automatically. So what we're basically going to focus on right now is the mechanical model here. And what I've actually done is I already condition it. What I mean by that is if I zoom in here, select this duct run, and hop over here to the properties, we're going to see a property I created already called issue status. And what I assigned it was installed. But we can also see a breakdown of every other option here. So 20, 30, 40, 50, and not installed as options. I can also type in any other property I'd like and have that selectable. What I simply did is I went through this whole model and applied those different parameters basically. With that done, I can easily colorize it by that as well. Color by property here, toggle this on. And I will do it by issue status here too, issue status. And as we see here, the colorization gets applied. I can also change this here on the left. Let me just see here, issue status. Have that reflected there. We can see a breakdown. Okay, 20%, expand this out, breakdown per level, the duct runs and the duct fittings, all provided here automatically. So the way I basically do it is, obviously if I'm in the field, I'm not trying to look at this whole building. This is way too much information for me. I can easily just break this down into, say, a level. Hop back here over to model tree, toggle this on, visibility settings, add a rule in, and I will do it by level. Just give this one moment. Let's see. Just bear with me one moment. There we go. Level 1. This is just referencing the model property as well. Click update, and now Assemble went through, got rid of every other level for us. And now we're just focusing on what we care about. Say this is conditioned however we wanted to. Easily see this as the view. Progress tracking. Let me just put today's date. Click done. This is about to save out for us. Hop back here. And then we're going to see this view created for us. So if I just hover down here, and let's see, 6.8. There we go. So what we can imagine right now is I am on my iPad. I'm jumping into this view. And once this loads up, I can easily just select a bunch of geometries and update them to the pertaining property we'd like. So say right now, these aren't actually all installed. Select them all. As you can see, it's selected within an inventory too. Within here, we'll be able to change it however we want it to. So issue status, I can make this not installed. Click save. Give this one moment and we'll see it reflected within our inventory. And then as we see here, it's reflected within our 3D view. So it's just a great visual representation of installation in the field. So this is a great step where we figured out how to track progress in the field, but figuring out, okay, percentage basis, how much of this is done on level 1, level 2, maybe the total building. That's where it gets a little muddy. That's where integration with Power BI comes into play. So this is an automatic integration. We just connect it once. From there, I can easily just click refresh. Assemble will do the rest. As we see here, we have a breakdown of all that assemble information pushed in automatically. I did nothing besides connect it over to the assemble site. And now we can see basement, level 1, level 2, level 3, as well as an overall. Of just pipes right now, but say I want to focus on duct instead, I can easily do so. This will automatically update for us and then track it accordingly. So for a lot of people, they don't want to look at a BIM model to understand how a project is going. Looking at charts and graphs just makes a ton more sense to them. If I hop over here, variance, this is all information coming from the model as well. We can see V1, V2 up here, have a total count difference. And say we had the cost pushed into assemble, we could have a total cost between the two versions and see if a project is more or less. Detailed view, this is just of everything within the model, an overview. So what assemble basically is we're taking all the information from that BIM model and making sense out of it. And as you see here, this is a couple of the different ways assemble is able to do so, from 3D quantity takeoff, change management, progress tracking, as well as any of these other insight that you're trying to look at within your model. Assemble is able to provide that for you. So like Andrew mentioned, if you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Andrew. I'd be happy to assist you. But yeah, I think that's it for me, Andrew.
Zach, that was a really great job. Thanks very much. It was yeah, it was very concise and covered a lot of ground, and it must have been fairly thorough because there's not a lot of questions coming in here right now. But since we got a couple of minutes, though, I'd love to maybe you know, just thinking of the fact that this is the first in a series on the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Maybe you could just take a second and just share a little bit about how this connects with the BIM 360, because some of the folks that are probably on this webinar may already be utilizing that tool. So could you sort of touch on that a little bit, just how this would work with that?
Yeah, of course. So that's a great point. So obviously the big picture is to have a unified platform of all our different tools. But right now we're working with connecting over to BIM 360, specifically with BIM 360 docs for the time being. And we actually do have integration with that. So if I hop over here, project files, sign into BIM 360, what I can basically do is, actually, let me hop over to architectural model. This may make a little bit more sense. What I can basically do is connect documents from BIM 360 docs over to 3D geometries within Assemble. So the workflow that I'm seeing for that is, say I am a subcontractor, or say I want to see specific spec sheets for, say, a rooftop unit, or honestly any other equipment you're going to see in the model, you're able to do that. If I hop over here within project files, now mind you, I'm connected into BIM 360 docs right now on the left. Hop over here into Francis Hall, the same project I'm in right now. And if you just give this one moment to load up, we can see a bunch of these documents are already linked over. I easily can link it just by selecting the document, that PDF, selecting the geometry, and clicking link up here. With that linked, I can easily just toggle this on. And then as we see here, we have a bunch of documents already linked over. Just click that over. This PDF. It's going to tell us who created it, who lost, modified, etc. I can download it locally to my device or view it here, and then view all that pertaining information. So this is all within BIM 360 right now. And in the future, we are going to obviously get more connected, being able to have this model being hosted within BIM 360 and have access to it within Assemble, and just sharing tools between the two to give you guys the most value from our tools.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks. Hey, while we
Yeah,
were going through that, there was another question came in here. Are there
sure.
any 2D measuring tools?
So that's a great question. For the time being, no. From the BIM 360 side, they are working on something. Honestly, that's all I know of. They try to keep it pretty top secret. But with
Yeah,
regards to the assemble side, yeah, I think we're sticking to the 3D side and leaving the 2D for the BIM 360 tool.
yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, it's funny you say it like that because it's the Autodesk standard, right? Well, something great's coming. We just won't tell you when and exactly what, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I heard
exactly.
the same thing that some of the 2D measuring tools were going to be coming out in BIM 360 docs in the near future, but like
Yeah.
yourself, they don't tell me the detail. Well, that looks like it. I don't see any other questions coming in, so really appreciate that, Zach. That was a great walkthrough. If you could just pull up that last slide so it's on the recording for us, that would be great
Of
for me
course.
because it'll just have a little contact information for people if you are looking to learn more about, any of the products or services from SolidCAD. There's my email, phone number. You can give me a call anytime, and I can certainly find the right person. Wait a minute. Now, see, Jay Polding's always got good questions. So is there any way to link a price database?
That is a great question. The answer is yes. So if I hop back over to Assemble, if the I actually need to know what specific database you guys are using. If it's I
Let's
assume
say it's
like
all
uniformat.
prizers.
If it's what?
All prizers?
I'm not actually familiar with that. Is there a solution?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those
Okay.
industry ones that just constantly gives updates. It's typically used by mechanical more often than not, but that's okay. Go ahead with what you were going to say with whatever,
Okay.
use whatever example you'd like.
Sure. So I'm assuming from this tool we were able to export to Excel, and that's kind of where that's going to be the unifying platform to get the information pushed into Assemble. So if I hop back here, I select the wall, hop over to the type, we're going to see this assembly code. This assembly code by default, there's a default one that comes from the Revit version. If you guys have a standardized one for your organization, it'll also be able to be pushed into Assemble. So all this is an Excel spreadsheet. And within these codes, obviously we have the quantity, unit cost, and comments. You push in the assembly codes, they have the unit cost applied to it. From there, that unit cost gets applied to the 3D geometry. And then obviously from there, you can get a total cost and see how much a project is based off the model.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. And Jay has just some nice. Jay said, "Thanks very much. That's an amazing presentation. So much appreciated." With that, Zach,
Yeah.
we'll close it out. Again, appreciate your time. Thanks everyone for attending. If you haven't registered for next Monday or the following Monday, please do so when you can, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks very much.